evening. Once again, we return to the story of Caius, Spellsword, Dunmer, Eternal Champion, former agent of the Emperor.
What, Outlander? Why do you disturb me?
And currently a little lost as to his plans. I know we're currently carrying some artifacts, Daedric daggers and spears and whatnot. I believe that we got those from Ashalmawia, and we were on our way ultimately to Balmora to drop them off. I think we also needed to turn in a quest about, yes, Baden, Gilrad, Giladrin. And there were some quests in between. Now, it would be nice if I can get some of the things done. But again, every time I go off on the side, I potentially have to leave some gear behind. So let's start by having some conversations. We'll take a quick look around Alderon, and then if I don't find anything worth following up on, we can head to Balmora.
I don't have a lot of patience for questions, Outlander.
Well, tell me about yourself.
Mireso Drath, Enchanter and Novice of the Temple.
Is it even worth trying to sell anything here? Probably not.
A guild guide is a spellcaster for the Mages Guild who provides magical transport for a small fee. You can only travel from one Mages Guild to another, but it is the fastest way to travel between Vivek, Balmora, Aldruin, Caldera, and Sadith Mora. Erenil is the guild guide at the Alderon Mages Guild.
This is good to know.
For a small fee, she can teleport you directly to the Mages Guild at either Vivek, Balmora, Caldera, or Sadith Mora.
I might actually do this so that I can drop off the goods.
Brings you to the temple, Caius. I wonder if Beta and Gildarin has finished the pilgrimage.
Tell me about House Redoran.
If you want to join House Redoran, speak with Niminda in the Redoran Council Hall.
Maybe I do. I need to remember who the Redoran were again. I think it might have been House Lalu I wanted to join. I took some notes last time I played. Right, these were friendly with the Emperor. And then Telvanni seemed interesting, but I think they might be rivals to the Mages Guild rather than complements. Me about duties.
You must join House Redoran before I can give you duties. If you want temple duties, speak with the temple steward, Tuls Valen.
My prices are reasonable.
You don't look familiar. I'm Methel Seren. Can I help you? Are you looking for some specific place here in Aldrun, or is there something else that you want?
Well, tell me about the specific places.
The Redoran Council, the Redoran Noble Manors, and fine merchants are in the Manor District, all inside the ancient Emperor Crabshell known as Scar. The temple is to the east. The Rat and the Pot Corner Club and the Mages Guild and the Fighters Guild are to the south. And Aldskar Inn is to the west, near the West Gate and the Silt Strider Port. Through the south gate, behind the Mages Guild, look for Fort Buckmoth and the Imperial Cult Altar. Roads lead south through Caldera to Balmora and north to Nisus and Margan. The road to Balmora swings northwest and curves until it heads south again. Between here and Balmora, there are many side paths. Watch for signposts or you'll get lost. Siltstrider service goes to Balmora, Nisus, Kuhl, and Margan. Guild guides at the Mages Guild teleport you to Balmora, Vivek, and Caldera, and Sadith Mora for a fee. Gnarmok is a long, hard walk west to the coast and then south. There are no marked routes.
What is Almalexia?
Almalexia is Healing Mother, the source of compassion and sympathy, a protector of the poor and weak.
Tell me about ancestors.
The oldest of our ancestor spirits we call the Daedra. Though they are powerful and cunning, their hearts and minds have grown distant and strange, and the bad Daedra are dangerous.
What do you mean about the bad Daedra?
The rebel Daedra, the dark Daedra, Moleg Baal, Malekith, Jigarath, Merunus Dagon, in their arrogance and pride, refuse to keep faith with the Tribunal. We call these bad Daedra the Four Corners of the House of Troubles, and they continue to tempt the unwary into heresy and dark worship.
Tell me about the normal Daedra, then.
The Daedra are our ancestors. Before the Tribunal, we worshipped the Daedra as gods, but they didn't deserve it, since they harmed us as often as they helped us. When they became gods, the Tribunal became our protectors and high ancestor spirits. The good Daedra became loyal friends of the Tribunal, but the bad Daedra remained foul and treacherous.
You are the good Daedra.
Boethia, Mephala, and Azura are loyal friends of the Tribunal. These Daedra are the good Daedra, which we also call the Anticipations.
And what about the Tribunal?
Like loving ancestors, the Tribunal guards and counsels us. Like stern parents, they punish our sins and errors. Like generous relatives, they share their bounty among the greatest and least according to their needs.
What do you think of the Empire?
Heed the Emperor's law and might, but dedicate your body and soul to the sacred soil of Morrowind, and to the temple which schools, nourishes, and protects its people.
Tell me about the Ghost Gate.
Ghost Gate is garrisoned by the Ordinators and the Buoyant Armigers, and House Redoran maintains a hostel for pilgrims.
What are the Buoyant Armigers?
Light-hearted Buoyant Armigers are rivals of the more solemn Ordinators in service to the temple.
And who are the Ordinators?
The Order of the Inquisition identifies and suppresses heresy among the priests and laymen.
What do you think of the Great Houses?
The Yellow Party of Lalu honors and serves fortune, trade, and the Empire, and through such distractions they sway from the narrow paths of duty, gravity, and piety.
What about fortune?
Extracting profit from trade and interest steals wealth from the deserving and puts it in the hands of thieves and extortionists.
What rumors have you heard?
Someone's been selling strange red statues in Alderon.
Any advice?
If you want weapons or arms in Alderon, or need weapons or armors repaired, look for Dendera Selro the Smith in the Alderon Underscar. Dendera Selro serves all comers and has quality selection. The other three smiths in Alderon have faction associations. Erigner the Nord is the Fighters Guild smith, and Tuvoso Beleth is the House Redoran smith at the Redoran Council Hall. Yambagorn Gro Shulor is the Legion smith in Fort Buckmoth, and Danius Redothril is the pawnbroker, who may also be worth a look.
I don't suppose you can tell me where I can find them. No? Alright, what about secrets?
I'm diviner rank in the temple, and I'd think twice about going down in a Daedric ruin without a crate full of potions and scrolls.
Funny you should mention that. What do you think of the 9 divines?
Many foreigners worship the 9 as gods. They have divine power like Daedra. They're not worthy of worship. Some are better than others, but none are trustworthy.
What about Scar?
Scar is the shell of the Emperor Crab Outlander. The homes and shops of the Manor District are under Scar.
You talk too much, Outlander.
Fine, I'll go. And I also have some books to read.
What, Outlander? Why do you disturb me? Do you want something?
Ah, yes, now I remember why I ran out. Or ran in here. Let's take a look at the smith to start off with.
It would be wise to stay indoors, Outlander.
Welcome to Alderon, Caius. I am Rani Orethi, commoner. Are you new here? I don't believe we've met.
What does a commoner do?
I'm a commoner. I do whatever needs doing. Cooking, cleaning, building, baking, making, breaking. And by your accent, I can tell that you are an outlander. Since you're new to these parts, perhaps you'd like me to share a little local lore.
Please do.
Red Mountain is the great volcano in the center of Radenfell Island. The crater of the Red Mountain is called Dagoth-Ur region, where Dagoth-Ur has and his evil servants dwell. The Tribunal built the ghost fence around the Red Mountain to imprison Dagoth-Ur and his servants, and to protect Morrowind from the blight storms that issue from Dagoth-Ur's crater.
Tell me more about Dagoth-Ur.
Dagoth-Ur is the evil, immortal enemy of the Tribunal Temple cult. The temple holds Dagoth-Ur and his hosts accountable for all of the evils that beset Dunmer and Morrowind. Dagoth-Ur dwells in fiery caverns beneath the Red Mountain, served by his kin called ash vampires, and by legions of deformed monsters.
What rumors have you heard?
Have you seen Aeneas Sardanus lately? What a remarkably good-looking young man he is, and so tastefully dressed. I thought I heard something about him having a little money trouble, but you'd never think it to look at him. And I hear he's become a prisoner of strong drink. That never would have happened while his devout temple-fearing parents were alive.
Any advice?
If you're heading into the backcountry, always carry a couple of Restore Health, Restore Fatigue, Cure Disease, and Cure Blight potions with you.
What about secrets?
Talk to everyone. Talk is cheap. Ask questions. You don't ask, you'll never learn.
I'm fairly certain we've probably already been to the smith, but I don't recall, so let's take a look.
I'm listening.
Don't believe I've seen a dark elf with such a grand outfit in some time. Can I help you?
Let's see what you've got. Nothing too helpful. I wonder if I can sell anything to you, though. It's all a bit pricey. Alright, thank you for your time. Maybe the pawnbroker got into something interesting.
I've got better things to do, so if you don't mind, let's move this along.
Go ahead, look around. See something you want? Let me know. I can also tell you about my trade, and if you're interested, I might have a little work for you.
What kind of work?
I'm looking for a fellow named Aeneas Sarandas. I sold him 2 fine matched rings.
Ah, yes, I remember this. So I suppose I'll have to find him somewhere else.
You may speak.
So now I need to see if I can find... Ah, well, we can start with his house.
Yes, I'm Aeneas Sardes. So you're here about the overdue payment? Yes, I do have some overdue payments with local merchants, but I'm afraid I can't pay my debts right now. You see, I'm a little too strapped for cash at the moment, but I have certain very attractive prospects underway. I'm sure I'll be able to pay very soon. I'm sorry, but I have no gold to give you, and that is that. Spoke to Aeneas Sarndas about his overdue payments. He said that he had no cash to pay at present, to pay his debts, but that he was very sure he would be able to pay very soon. I decided to take no immediate action. Trade? I'm afraid I have no trade. I shall have to think of what to do.
Let's try and charm him.
Talk straight, Dark Elf. None of that flattery.
Alright, how's a little bit of bribe?
Everyone can always use some extra coin. What do you need? Indeed, it is as you say, nor encumber myself with profitless treasures, but shall share freely among the house and hearth. I've forgotten the grace of generosity, the words of Lord Vivek. You are right to remind me of Sayonari's sermons. I've been a fool and I've wasted my family's fortunes, all in the pursuit of profitless treasures. I would share freely rather than squander the great gifts of home and hearth. Here, take these items and return them. Give the brocade shirt and silk pants to Byvale Ternan.
I'm gonna have to write this down.
Give the racer suede belt to Tiras Sadis. Give the ebony ring and glass ring to Danius Redothril. Give the designer shoes to Lether Veri. Give the fire jade amulet to Bivane Releth. They're all merchants in Alderon. Return the goods with my apologies.
Oh boy. What do you think of the Empire?
The Empire of Tamriel encompasses the 9 imperial provinces: Skyrim, High Rock, Hammerfell, Somerset Isle, Valenwood, Elsewhere, Blackmarsh, Morrowind, and the ancient imperial province itself, Cyrodiil. Dating back to the first era of the Cyrodiilic Empire, the empire is almost 4,000 years old. But more properly, the current empire dates back from the beginning of the third era of the crowning of Tiber Septim as Emperor of Morrowind over 400 years ago. The current emperor is Uriel Septim, 24th of the Septim line.
this is going to be a bit of an adventure to try and figure out.
It would be wise to stay indoors, Outlander.
I'll start with the pawnbroker.
I haven't got no need to stand around and talk to you.
I see you have the ebony ring and the glass ring from Aeneas Serendas. Here's the 50 drakes for your services, and thank you very much for handling the situation so well. I really appreciate it.
I see this land suits you. We welcome you freely, Outlander.
So I'm still down to 50 for the effort.
Let's do some business, shall we?
Yes, we shall.
Welcome, guys. Welcome to the humble shop of Tyrus Sadis, trader and purveyor of quality general merchandise. Shall I tell you about my trade, or would you perhaps be interested in doing a little work with me?
Let's hear about your trade first.
I'm a trader, a general merchant. I buy and sell a little of everything. Weapons, armor, clothes, books, miscellaneous items of all kinds. Take a look around. Let me know what you want. Or if you have things you'd like to sell, let me take a look at them, and I'll give you a price.
What about that work we were talking about?
I sold an Ashlander handcrafted racer suede belt to an Ashlander handcrafted racer suede belt to a customer, but he has failed to make his final payment on time. If you would find Aeneas Serendas to get back my belt, or get the overdue payment of 50 septims he owes me, I will pay you 25 gold. Have you heard that he's given his house to the temple and is studying to be a priest of Alderon Temple? The word is all over town. I see you have the racer suede belt from Aeneas Serendas. Here's the 25 drakes for your services. And thank you very much for handling the situation so well. I really appreciate it.
All right. Again, if I can get any better items, I would, but looks like this fellow doesn't have anything for me. Don't you people have a town guard?
Greetings, Sarah. Bevine Relith, clothier. Quality clothes for less. Stylish clothes for any pocketbook. Shall I tell you about my trade, or would you be interested in a little work?
Tell me about these stylish clothes.
I'm a clothier. I make clothes and I sell them. I also buy clothes in good condition, with a little work. I can make them as good as new and resell them. Mostly I make and sell Dunmer clothing, but some people also want Imperial clothes and Ashlander clothes.
Tell me about the work.
I made a fire jade amulet for a customer, Aeneas Serendas. I made delivery, and I received the first payment, but Sarah Indes is behind time with his final payment, and I can wait no longer. I will pay you 25 drakes if you will find Sarah Indus Serendas and either recover and return my amulet or extract the overdue payment of 50 drakes for me.
What is it, Sarah?
See that you have the Fire Jade amulet that from Aeneas Serendas. Here is the 25 drakes for your services, and thank you very much for handling this situation so well. I really appreciate it.
Now, is there anything... Nothing to trade, really.
Have you heard that he's given his house to the temple and is studying to be a priest at Alderon Temple? The word is all over town.
Alright, so... 2, 3, 4... That's Leltherveri is the last one, and we'll still come out ahead.
I'm an officer of the Imperial Law. Move along.
Can you tell me about the services around here? Apparently not.
Steal from your kin, strike your kin unprovoked, or murder your kin, and you shall be cast out from us and called our enemy. Do not break your word of honor. Know your place, serve your superiors, and do your duty to your house. Respect the teachings of the tribunal, defend your house, your people, and your honor.
Speak, traveler. Let's hear it.
Oh wait, Vivail might be the last one I needed. Yep.
I've got better things to do, so if you don't mind, let's move this. I've got better things to do, so if you don't mind,
I'm
let's
listening.
move this along.
Go ahead.
Good day, Caius. I'm Vivail Terranen. I flatter myself that I am the finest clothier in these parts. Shall I tell you about my trade, or would you be interested in a little work?
First of all, tell me about yourself.
I'm a clothier. I make clothes and I sell them. Of course, I make clothes with style and distinction. My clients are either discerning nobles or merchants or commoners with exceptional taste and financial resources.
So I hear that one of them hasn't paid.
I made a brocade shirt and silk pants for Aeneas Serendas. He gave me a half payment on account, and he said that he would pay me the rest later. But it's been weeks, and I have my own bills to pay. Find Aeneas Serendas, get the overdue payment of 360 drakes he owes me, or get the shirt and pants and bring them back to me. I will give you 50 drakes for your services.
You know, the other people paid half.
See that you have the brocade shirt and silk pants from Aeneas Serendas. Here are the 50 drakes for your services, and thank you very much for handling the situation so well. I really appreciate it.
At least I came out ahead. So I know the Soul Slime mission will be something I do later. I need to find the Chronicles of the Nushleft. So technically there's nothing else really keeping me here, but while I'm in the area, let's just see if there's anything else that's interesting. Well, there's an alchemist, but I don't think I'll get any good deals. Wait a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't remember the shoes though. I'm also just interested to see if there's any kind of a smith in the area. I'm almost certain that Althaveri, I'm fairly certain I haven't given that. So I need to find them. It's possible they were in the Manor District, but I wasn't paying attention, but I'll take a quick look in the area. Can't get better if you don't practice.
I've got other things to do, so if you don't mind, let's go. Okay, Outlander.
Everyone keeps saying I need to go indoors, but they're not going in themselves. They're probably in the Manor District and I just haven't noticed. Yep, it was the enchanter that I ignored. Got it wrong. Bet I can jump down though.
Lethaveri, Enchanter. I am pleased to offer a fine selection of enchanted items. Shall I tell you about my trade, or would you perhaps be interested in doing a little work for me?
Trade first.
I'm an enchanter. I enchant things. I sell them. I have scrolls which are cheap but only work once, and enchanted items which work over and over again but which are not cheap. I also make my enchanter's lab available to those who want to enchant items but who can't afford the expense of building and maintaining a lab. I charge a fee for the service, of course, but you must provide the items, the soul gems, and the magic effects. I also buy and sell enchanted weapons, enchanted armor, and enchanted clothing.
Tell me about this work.
I sold a pair of splendid designer shoes bearing the light enchantment. The radiant glow is practical as well as ornamental, quite useful for late evening gatherings. The purchaser, one Aeneas Serendis, paid me 120 drakes on account when he received the shoes, but he's failed to pay the balance of 120 septims in a timely fashion. If he'd find this Aeneas Serendis and return the shoes or the overdue payment of 120 gold he owes me, I will pay you 50 gold for your time and effort. I see you have the designer shoes from Aeneas Serendis. Here's 50 drakes for your services, and thank you very much for handling the situation so well. I really appreciate it.
Alright, now you've actually got some money. So if I sold you a left bracer, still too much, but I might be able to get some goodies from you. So I gotta do better than 320. is a life belt. Looks like all my stuff is better. Alright, so CV intervention. Yeah, well, we've definitely got what we need for these. I'll admit some of this is tempting to get just because I know that I can trade out some of these goods, but the buying game seems helpful, but again, I don't have anything that I can really trade for it.
You honor me. Do you wish to do business?
Alright, so in this case, I think I'll use the guild guide to go to Balmora. That will save me the time to bring the rest of the goods back to Balmora.
Speak, traveler.
Yes, Outlander.
I will admit I'm a little surprised at how long it's taking me to get a spell that I can,
Yes, Outlander.
like a fireball that I can cast. Aranel.
Ah, welcome. What is it, friend?
It wants something. What does it ask?
Ah, friend. How does the day greet you?
How does the day greet you, friend?
It's all fine, I just need to find the guild guide.
Outlander.
What is it, Sarah? May I help you, Outlander?
I was really hoping you'd have something cool that I could buy or sell.
I'm Ironil, the High Elf Guild Guide. I provide instantaneous transport between various mages guild here in Vradenfell. What is your destination? I can also help with local information. Do you need services? Are you looking for some specific place, or for someone in particular?
Travel. I would like to go to Balmora, please.
Tidings and good wishes to you, friend.
Tidings and good wishes to you as well. For now, I just want to double check that I can, just double checking that I can get all of my alright. All of my destruction spells and training. Yeah, the weakness is I don't want to spend that much money for something that I'm not really going to get the use out of.
Citizens of Margan still have to worry about necromancy. Did you kill the necromancer?
I did.
She's truly dead. You've done me, the guild, that is, a great service. These scrolls should help you deal with any other necromancers that you find. You meet our requirements, Caius, but you have not yet completed the duties expected of a magician. I believe the Mages Guild has been infiltrated by a Telvanni spy. Go to the guild halls in Alderon, Vivek, and Sadith Mora. I'm sure there's a spy. When you find the spy, do not take any action. Report back to me.
Understood.
How wonderful. Welcome, Outlander.
There is a small temptation to try and train my alchemy, but it's been a while since I've seen a clear night.
Well met. Greetings.
Alright, you have 2,000, but it's still probably not enough to get, well, if you have something interesting you can sell me, maybe. Think I'll hang on to this for...
Well, friend, what brings you
I
here?
don't need the money that badly yet.
Ah, you bring good fortune with you. Welcome.
Did you recover the debt menu from Delil yet? Or have you just been wasting time? Well?
Alright. Where's Suran? Oh, you know what? That was on my way back to Balmora, wasn't it? I forgot to check the map. just take a minute to find it here. Nope, Saran is to the east. Alright. So we will go back to Alderon. And then I'll try and find the other Mages Guild in reasonably good time. So it's Alderon, Vivek, and Sadrith Mora. I just need to find Vivek and Sadrith Mora now. It's not the easiest map in the world to read. I know I can check online, but I am still trying to pretend that I get to play it as it was intended. It's odd, I always keep hearing about Vivek. I would have thought I could have found it right away. Oh, Vivek's to the south. So I think I have been there. So I can head there on my way to Saran. And then as far as Sadrith Mora. Is that to the far east, perhaps? Yes. Alright. So that's a fairly clear path. We'll go back to get the items from... We'll start from Alderon. And then we'll head to Saran. Maybe I'll stop by, I'll find out what the task for the blades is.
What do you think of Balmora, Outlander?
That's alright.
Hello, Caius. I'm Doris Darvel, and this is Balmora. I don't believe we've met. Is there something that I can do for you?
Who is Bacola Clausius?
Bacola Clausius is the owner and proprietor of South Wall, a working-class Balmora corner club east of the Odai River.
What books do you have? Well, there's no shortage. Just need to double check what this book I was looking for was. The Chronicles of Nutrileft. Excellent, we have that. See if I can get a deal.
Thank you. Please come again.
What is this about?
What, you mad I got a deal?
Go ahead, Outlander. What do you need?
May your kills be quick and many.
When they're with my axe, they're anything but quick, my friend.
And a fine day to
You
you.
may speak.
Alright. I think I have some things to drop off.
Well met, Outlander. What is it?
First things first, though. Really don't think I need the cruel flame sword at this point. I think I'll just sell it the next chance I get. Am I forgetting a weapon or two? Nope, apparently I'm just carrying a lot of stuff. At this point, I think I'm going to I've clearly decided that some of this is not quite worth selling yet. But I will at the very least free up some space. Alright, now, I do not recall. Oh yes, I was also supposed to sell some diamonds and whatnot. I'll hang on to these. I think the best thing for me to do here is just read each of the books. So I'm fairly certain I've already read this one. Perhaps I didn't.
The 36 Lessons of Vivek, Sermon 12. As the Horator pondered the first lesson of ruling kings, Vivek wandered into the morning hold and found that Iam was with a pair of lovers. Set had divided himself again. Vivek then leapt through into their likeness to observe, but he gained no secrets that he did not already know. He left a few of his own behind to make the journey worthwhile. Oh, no, hang on, I have read this one. This is a story with Molag. Yeah. Okay. Arche the enemy, hear me, children. Once I was a lowly man such as yourselves. By my will I entered the ranks of the gods. By your unquestioning devotion you can share my glory. Most necromancers are fools and weaklings, fodder for the witch hunters. But you, my servants, you are among the chosen. In the days to come, few will dare to stand against your might, but one obstacle remains. His name is Arche. He was also a man who entered the ranks of the gods. The similarities between his mortal life and my own astonish even me. It is only proper that we should be enemies. Arche's blessing prevents the souls of men, beastmen, and elves from being used without consent. Arche's law prevents those buried with the proper rituals from being raised to serve my children's will. As you know, my children, Arkay's blessing is flexible to those with daring, but Arkay's law is unwavering. To the scholars, humiliate the priests of Arkay, reveal the primitive burial customs to be mere superstition, befriend kings with honeyed words and bind them to your will. Look to my children in Cyrodiil for guidance. To the priests, use your servants sparingly, let none be seen by the living. Let the memories of the undead waste away from the people. Send missionaries to the unbound dead, to the vampires and the liches. Let all the nations of the dead carry my banner and my banner alone. To the hidden, wait as always in the darkness. For soon we shall strike. The temples of Arkay will be torn stone from stone. The blood of his priests will sate our thirst. Their bones will rise as our servants. The name Arkay will be struck from the records. Only I shall hold sway over life and death. Only one name shall be whispered in fear. The name of your Lord and Master. K.W. Chronicles of Nuchleft. This is a chronicle of events of historical significance to the Dwemer freehold colony of... Sorry, let me just try to get this. It's either Nukuleft or Nukuleft. I think it's Nukuleft. The text was probably recorded by an Altmer, for it is written in Aldemaris. 23. The death of Lord Illindam. It happened in the second planting, PD 1220, that Lord Illindam, on a journey in the western uplands, came to Nukleft. A protector, Ankard, and General Rakuntuch met him there, and Dalen Zanchu, who came to the meeting. They talked together long by themselves, but this only was known of their business, that they were to be friends of each other. They parted, and each went home to his own colony. Bloodthach and her sons came to hear of this meeting, and saw in the secret meeting a treasonable plot against the councils, and they often talked about this among themselves. When spring came, the councils proclaimed, as usual, a council meet in the halls of Bam's Amshend. The people accordingly assembled, hand-fasted with ale and song, drinking bravely, and much over many things were talked over at the drink table, and among other things were comparisons between different Dwemer, and at last among the councillors themselves. One said that Lord Illindam excelled his fellow councillors by far and in every way. At this, Councillor Blundat was very angry, and said that she was in no way less than Lord Illindam, and that she was eager to prove it. Instantly, both parties were so inflamed that they challenged each other to battle and ran to their arms. But some citizens, who were less drunk and more understanding, came between them and quieted them, and each went back to his colony, but nobody expected that they would ever meet in peace again together. But then, in the fall, Lord Illindam received a message from Councillor Blunthach, inviting him to a parley at Hendor Stardoms. And all Illindam's kin and citizens strongly urged him not to come, fearing treachery. But Lord Illindam would not listen to counsel, not even to carrying with him as honor guard. And sadly, it came to pass that, while traveling to Hendor Stardoms, the Chinzich Pass, a host of foul creatures set upon Lord Illindam and killed him, and nearly all of his party. And many citizens said thereafter that Blunthach and her sons had conjured these beasts and set them upon Lord Illindam, but nothing was proven. Lord Illindam lies buried at the place called Leftunch.
I can't say that was really worth it.
Principal districts of Alderon. Alderon is the district seat of House Redoran and one of the largest settlements on Fradenfell. The three principal districts of Alderon Town, Alderon Underscar, and Buckmoth Fort. Alderon Town is a large settlement in Redoran village style, built of local materials with organic curves and undecorated exteriors inspired by the landscape and by the shells of giant native insects. Most guild halls, corner clubs, and merchants are sited to the southwest corner of the town, convenient to Westgate and the Strider Port, while the temple is located on high ground to the east and surrounded by a residential section. Alderon Underscar is the most distinctive architectural feature of Alderon, a manor and council district sheltered beneath the shell of an ancient extinct giant crab. The large carapace encloses a central dome from which radiate the entrances to the Redoran Council chambers, the manors of the Redoran councillors, and shops of a few upscale merchants. Buckmoth Fort is the Imperial Legion garrison for the district. The strong walls and towers of this western fortress lie a short distance to the south of Alderon town, through the south gate behind the Mages Guild. Services. House Redoran services are in the Council House and the Councilor's Manors of Alderon under Scar. The Alderon Temple, on the east side of the town, provides service for the temple worshippers. Buckmoth Fort offers services to the Imperial Legion and devotees of the Imperial Cult, including an Imperial Cult altar. The guild halls of the Fighters Guild and Mages Guild are near the south gate. Pricey but high-quality clothier, alchemist, and enchanter shops are under Scar as well. Commodities at reasonable prices, but with smaller selections, are available from smith, clothier, trader, pawnbroker, and bookseller near the entrance to Alderon under Scar. The Old Scar Inn and Council Corner Club are found to the west, near the West Gate and the Silt Strider Port. The Rat in the Pot Corner Club is in southern Alderon, near the guild halls. Notable figures. All 6 veteran councillors, Brara Morrowind, Laren Ramoran, Athan Serathi, Garisa Letheri, Minor Erobar, and Bolvin Venim have manor residences in Alderon under Scar. Edwina Albert is the Mages Guild Steward, and Perseus Mercius has recently become the Fighters Guild Steward. Old Methal Saran is an eminent temple priest and scholar. Rosea Pulia is Commandant of Buckmoth Fort, and Imson the Dreamer is the chapter steward. The Redguard Heen is priest of the Imperial Cult. Goran Andresis is the guild steward of the Moran Tong, whose guild hall is found in Alderon under Scar. Travel and transportation. Roads lead northwest to Margan and Nisus villages, and by a circuitous western route to Caldera, Balmora, and points south. The road to Balmora swings northwest to avoid the barren wastes and curves around towards the west until it heads south again to Caldera. Between Alderon and Caldera are many side paths. Watch for signposts or you'll get lost. The Silt Strider Port is along the western town wall, north of the West Gate. Silt Strider service goes from Alderon to Balmora, Nisus, Kuul, or Margan. Guild guides at the Mages Guild teleport you to Balmora, Vivet, Caldera, or Sadith Mora for a modest fee. Narmak is a long and exceptionally unpleasant walk west to the coast and then south. There are no trails or marked routes. Casual travelers, ill-equipped for the attacks of wild beasts and brigands, should keep to the roads and travel services.
I don't actually remember doing this. We should join House Lalu while we're at it.
Balmora is the district seat of House Lalu and the largest settlement on Dradenfell after Vivec City. Balmora's 4 districts are Hightown, the Commercial District, Labour Town, and Fort Moonmoth. Hightown, on the hill to the west, is the Tribunal Temple, Lalu Council Hall, rich manors, better shops, and Moragtong Guild Hall. The Commercial District, just west of the river, is centered on a large plaza north of the South Gate, where the Strider Port along with the South Wall east of the South Gate. The Fighters Guild and Mages Guild and most of Balmora's shops and inns are located along the streets to the commercial district. Labour Town, east of the river, where the commoners and poor live, had several modest corner clubs and a few merchants. Fort Moonmoth, a long walk southeast of town, houses the Legion garrison and the Imperial Cult. Services. House Lalu services are available at the Lalu Council Manor in Hightown. Temple faithful seek solace and services at the Balmora Temple in the southeast. Outlanders must travel outside the town walls through the South Gate and east along the well-marked roads to Fort Moonmoth for the Imperial Legion and the Imperial Cult services. The guild halls of the Fighters Guild and Mages Guild are on the street north from the plaza to the Commercial District. Morag Tong services are available at their guild hall in the extreme northwest of Hightown. Better shops in Hightown on the hill with numerous merchants in the Commercial District.
I should double check that then.
With numerous merchants in the Commercial District, west of the river, and a few traders in Labour Town, east of the river. Notable figures. None of the Lalu councillors live in Balmora. Nileno Dorovan at the council hall is the ranking Lalu local. At the Fighters Guild, Edris Fireeye is the steward. Rhaenys Atheris is the Mages Guild steward. Ithasi Rivlin is the Morag Tong steward. Feldreos Sadri is the ranking cleric of the Balmora Tribunal Temple. The colorful Sugar Lips Habsi, a freelance facilitator of no fixed address, is often rumored to be the local boss of the Thieves Guild. Transportation. A good road leads south to Pelagiad, Seyda-Neen, Ebonheart, and Vivek. A rugged wilderness track leads southwest along the Odai River to the fishing village of Laod. Improved roads head north to Caldera and Alderon. The Siltstrider port is on the west side of the river near the south gate. Siltstrider service goes to Alderon, Suran, Alderon, and Seyda-Neen.
Alderon twice, huh?
Guild guides at the Mages Guild can teleport you to Alderon, Vivek, Caldera, and Sadrith Mora for a fee. Laod is southwest of the coast. An unimproved trail leads northeast up the ravines to the Foyada Mamea to Ghostgate. The path is easy to follow, but dangerous beasts threaten pilgrims who travel this route to Ghostgate Shrine.
Alright, I'm a little curious about this, Hightown.
Nagasta Kavta Kthakis, an obscure text in the language of the Slode, purportedly written by the Second Era Western necromancer Nagasta. Nagasta Kavta Kavkis, Nagasta Kavta Kavkis, Acta so Nova Geletro, Ox Gemel, so Rantadao, Rikvas Gin Pajitwaz, Membrao Kaj Alij, Indivadwao, Kaijin Imerne. I'm sorry, I really want to try and read this all the way through. That's not happening.
Alright, we definitely read the response to Berta's speech.
Special Flora of Tamriel by Hadron the Herbalist. The poppy, both black and white varieties, may be found growing wild in the mountains of Hammerfell. Succulent pods are often the only nourishment for adventurers who find themselves in the wilderness without rations. It is said that black and white poppies imbibed together have magical properties. When they are crushed and mixed with the milk of an agile-footed mountain goat, the resulting potion allows the user to glide safely above ground. Fire fern, a perennial herb, is native to the province of Morrowind. The flowers are inconspicuous and often hidden. The glossy, evergreen foliage and blossoms are resilient to conditions of high heat and bright light.
I think I've read this before, but we'll carry on.
A petal from this plant placed under an adventurer's tongue will provide protection from the heat and the fire of the lava pits and thermal streams around Dagoth-Ur. Dragon's tongue, a common name for a fern-like herb found in Black Marsh, is especially prolific around the area of the Ultharis Swamp. It is a beautiful wildflower whose name comes from the fire-red fronds that protect its golden efflorescence. As pretty as it is, however, it is a deadly poison to most living beings and needs to be avoided by adventurers, especially unprotected ones, as it is lethal to the touch. It is said, however, that Argonians can handle the plant and use the sap derived from its roots to enhance their endurance. Domica redwort is an herb grown by many residents of Valenwood for their beautiful and showy flowers. They attain a height of about 3 feet and sport feathery leaves. The flowers are usually bright red. In addition to their beauty, they are said to have the magical ability of enhancing the appearance of anyone who carries or wears one of the blooms. Ironwood Nut is a hard-shelled fruit that comes from the ironwood trees growing deep in the forests of Skyrim. The wood of these trees is as hard as the metal after which they are named. The very rare black variety of ironwood is said to produce a nut which is very succulent and believed to greaten the strength of the adventurer who is able to crack its shell and partake of it. The Ginkgo Leaves, which are found along the banks of the rivers and lakes in Hammerfell, are most inconspicuous, but only their peculiar half-moon shape making them noticeable. The edible foliage is very sweet and quite tasty. Legend has it that when mixed properly with the pulp of the aloe plant, the resulting concoction has the ability of increasing one's stamina for a short while. The Somnolus fern can be found in the swamps of Black Marsh. The fronds of this plant are light green and quite delicate. Picking a frond can be very difficult, as they usually crumble to the touch, but once retrieved, it can be used to put an enemy to sleep for a short while by passing it under his nose. Arrowroot is a thick, rubbery tuber that can be found in the province of Valenwood. The plant is quite difficult to find, as its above-ground foliage is very meager and scrawny. but the root itself can be most beneficial to the gatherer as it has magical properties. The paste made from grinding this root is quite wholesome and can improve the user's accuracy with a bow and arrow, or other missile weapon. Nightshade is reputed to be a very poisonous herb. However, the variety found in the many parts of Elsewhere are cherished by the Khajiits who have taken up careers in thievery. Many Khajiits will tuck a piece of nightshade inside their armor to increase their abilities to skulk, hide, and become invisible. Vagaries of Magica. Sorry, a passage from the text. The vagaries of Magica. But take care, lest power enfeeble the fundamentals and curtail the flow through the congeries, except when functions are warranted, and safeguard that the congeries shall not be abused by prideful wizards, confident in their skill and blinded by their ambitions. In this hold the ordering of the congeries among the oldest and most trusted of mages, and make secure this ordering through arcane codes and keys to confound even the most clever students. The restorals must be most carefully guarded, for how often have even the wise lusted to overreach their bodies and souls with vitality and mana, and also must the magica foundations be damped and banked, sanctioning their engendering only to the reconsecration of the essential arcane engines and templates, and then only by the common assent of the council.
Is that clear? Good. Oh. Gonna get some rest.
Well met, Outlander. What is it?
Are you here to discuss your orders, Kais, or is there something else you want?
Let's get the orders.
Ready for orders? Good. Talk to Halfshat Antbulus at the Balmora Fighters Guild. Ask him what he knows about the Neverine secret cult and the Sixth House secret cult. You'll have to do him a favor first, probably an ugly favor, but do it. Then get information from Antibulus and report back to me. By the way, Hashfat is a student of Morrowind history. Take the chance to get a little education. And I have a few history books in here. Help yourself. You're welcome to learn them. No point in being part of history if you're too ignorant to understand it.
So tell me about Hapshat first.
He's drill master of the Balmora Fighters Guild. He's lived in Morrowind all his life, knows the natives, talks a lot with the backcountry country mercenaries, thinks himself a scholar, and he's particularly interested in Dwemer ruins and artifacts.
I think I know where I'm going. What about the Neverine?
Some Dwemer believe that an orphan and an outcast, a youth born on a certain day to uncertain parents, will one day unite all the tribes of the Dunmer, drive out the invaders of Morrowind, and re-establish the ancient laws and customs of the Dark Elven nations. They call this orphan and outcast the Neverine, and they say that the Neverine will be a reincarnation of the long-dead Dunmer general and first councillor, Lord Inderel Neverar.
What about the Sixth House?
A trusted informant says they're a secret cult associated with some strange events recently. And more important, my informers thinks that these recent disturbances are in some way related to the Neverine's prophecies.
Tell me about the prophecies.
The illiterate Ashlanders pass down their customs and history in the form of poetic verses. Among the things that they preserve in verse are the dreams and prophetic visions of their wise women, in particular the verses that foretell the coming of the Neverine. But I don't know much about it. That's why I'm sending you to find out.
What about Morrowind history?
Jeanette Sight's little book is a good place to start. I have a copy here. Take it. You might also look for On Morrowind, the Imperial Province, by Ermenway of Sunhold.
Start by reading The War of the First Council.
The War of the First Council. This account by Imperial scholar Agrippa Fundilis is based on various Imperial and Dunmer sources and written for Western readers. The War of the First Council was a First-Age religious conflict between the secular Dunmer houses Dwemer and Dagoth and the Orthodox Dunmer houses Inderel, Redoran, Dress, Lalu, and Tilvani. The First Council was the first Pan-Dunmer governing body, which collapsed over disputes about sorceries and enchantments practiced by the Dwemer and declared profane by the other houses. The secular houses, less numerous but politically and magically more advanced, and aided by Nord and Orc clans drawn by promise of land and booty, initially campaigned with great success in the north of Morrowind, and occupied much of the land now comprising of Redoran, Vradenfell, and Telvanni district. The Orthodox houses, widely dispersed and poorly organized, suffered defeat after defeat until Neverar was made general of all house troops and levies. Neverar secured the aid of nomad barbarian tribesmen and contrived to force a major battle at the secular stronghold of Red Mountain on Vradenfell. The secular forces were outmaneuvered and defeated with the help of the Ashlander scouts, and the survivors forced to take refuge in the Dwemer stronghold at Red Mountain. After a brief stage, treason permitted Neverar and his troops to enter the stronghold, where the secular leaders were slain, and Neverar mortally wounded. General slaughter followed, and the houses of Dwemer and Dagoth were exterminated. Neverar died shortly thereafter of his wounds. 3 of Neverar's associates among the Orthodox houses, Vivek, Almexia, and Sothasil, succeeded to control of the recreated First Council, renamed the Grand Council of Morrowind, and went on to become the God Kings and immortal rulers of Morrowind known as the Tribunal, or Almsevi. And finally, A Short History of Morrowind by Jeanette Sitt. From the introduction, led by the legendary prophet Veloth, the ancestors of the Dunmer, exiles from Altmer cultures in present-day Somerset Isle, came to the region of Morrowind. In the earliest times, the Dunmer were harassed or dominated by Nord sea raiders. When the scattered Dunmer tribes consolidated into the predecessors of the modern Great House clans, they threw out the Nord oppressors and successfully resisted further incursions. The ancient ancestor worship of the tribes was in time superseded by the monolithic tribunal temple theocracy, and the Dunmer grew into a great nation called Resdayan. Resdayan was the last of the provinces to submit to Tiber Septim. Like Black Marsh, it was never successfully invaded, and was peacefully incorporated by treaty into the empire as the province of Morrowind. Almost 4 centuries after the coming of the Imperial Legions, Morrowind is still occupied by Imperial Legions, with a figurehead Imperial King, though the Empire has reserved most functions of the traditional local government to the ruling councils of the 5 great houses. On Vradenfell District. In the Third Era 414, Vradenfell territory, previously a temple preserve under Imperial protection, was reorganized as an Imperial provincial district. Vradenfell had been maintained as a preserve administered by the temple since the Treaty of the Armistice, and except for a few great house settlements sanctioned by the temple, Vradenfell was previously uninhabited and undeveloped. But when the centuries-old temple ban on trade and settlement of Vradenfell was revoked by the King of Morrowind, a flood of Imperial colonists and Great House Dunmer came to Vradenfell, expanding old settlements and building new ones. The new district was divided into Redoran, Lalu, Telvanni, and temple districts, each separately administered by a local house council or temple priesthood, all under the advice and consent of Duke Dren and the district council in Ebonheart. Local law became a mixture of house law and imperial law in house districts, jointly enforced by house guards and legion guards, with temple law and imperial law enforced in the temple district by ordinators. The temple was still recognized as the majority religion, but worship of the 9 divines was protected by the legions and encouraged by the imperial cult missions. The temple district included the city of Vivek, the fortress of the Ghost Gate, and all sacred and profane sites, including those blighted areas inside the Ghost Fence, and all unsettled and wilderness areas on Vradenfell. In practice, this district included all parts of Vradenfell not claimed for Redoran, Lalu, or Telvanni districts. The temple stubbornly fought all development in their district and were largely successful. House Lalu, in combination with imperial colonists, embarked on a vigorous campaign of settlement and development. In the decades after reorganization, Balmora and the Ascadian Isle regions have grown steadily. Caldera and Pelagiad are completely new settlements, and all legion forts were expanded to accommodate larger garrisons. Helstelvani, normally conservative and isolationist, has been surprisingly aggressive in expanding beyond their traditional tower villages. Disregarding the protests of the other houses, the temple, the duke, and the district council, Telvanni pioneers have been encroaching on the wild lands reserved for the temple. The Telvanni Council officially disavows responsibility for these rogue Telvanni settlements, but it is an open secret that they are encouraged and supported by ambitious Telvanni magelords. Under pressure from the temple, conservative House Redoran has steadfastly resisted expansion in their district. As a result, House Redoran and the temple are in danger of becoming politically and economically marginalized by the more aggressive and expansionist Lalu and Telvanni interests. The Imperial administration faces many challenges in the Vradenfell district, but the most serious are the Great House rivalries, animosity from the Ashlander nomads, internal conflicts within the temple itself, and the Red Mountain Blight. Struggles between the Great House, the temple, and the Imperial interests to control Vradenfell's resource could at any time erupt into a full-scale war. Ashlanders raid settlements, plunder caravans, and kill foreigners on their wild lands. The temple has unsuccessfully attempted to silence criticisms and calls for reform within its ranks. But the most serious are the plagues and diseased hosts produced by the Blightstorm sweeping out from the Red Mountain. Vradenfell and all Morrowind have long been menaced by the legendary evils of Dagoth-Ur and his ash vampire kin dwelling beneath the Red Mountain. For centuries, the temple has contained this threat within the Ghost Fence, but recently the temple's resources and will have faltered, and the threat from Red Mountain has grown in scale and intensity. If the Ghost Fence should fail, and hosts of blighted monsters were to spill out across Vradenfell's town and villages, the Empire might have no choice but to evacuate Vradenfell district and abandon it to disease and corruption.
Just trying to figure where these fancy stores are. Wouldn't hurt to have a look. It's a bunch of houses. I'm also looking for the, wherever the Lalu organization is. No, actually, I might be able to ask you about House Lalu. Nope, you're useless to me.
How does the day greet you, friend? Tidings and good wishes to you, friend.
Please, by all
hello
means, I'm
there.
listening.
A pleasure to meet you.
Good day, Caius. So you're with Caius, eh? Caius
That imposter.
wants information? Of course. There's a this for that involved. I require a favor first, and then I'll tell you what I know.
Let's talk about Morrowind history.
I won't bore you with blathering about history. That's what Caius is for. But if you're really interested, try On Morrowind, the Imperial Province by Ermenwine of Sunhold. I have an extra copy you can have. What an adventurer like you really needs is a sense of current events. Who hates who? Where's trouble brewing? That's where opportunity lies for an outlander like you.
Tell me about current events then.
Great houses hate each other. Theft, murder, assassination, secret raids, standard stuff. The Temple is trying to kill off a rebellious faction called the Dissident Priests. Ashlander nomads raid each other, attack traders and pilgrims. A secret cult is killing off Imperial citizens. All bad enough. The real problem, though, is the blight, monsters and diseases. The natives say that it comes from the Red Mountain, and it's been a local problem for years, but lately it's gotten badly out of control.
Alright, tell me about this favor.
There are Dwemer ruins nearby.
Yep.
Called Arkanthand. I need you to run over there and find me a little cube with a circular design and some symbols on one side. It's called Dwemer's Puzzle Box. Bring me back the Dwemer Puzzle Box, and I'll tell you what I know.
Tell me about Arkanthad.
The old Dwemer ruins at Arkanthad are extensive on the surface and underground. Head south out of town past the Siltstrider port, then cross bridges east over the Odai River, and the signpost. Head north towards Caldera, and immediately on the right see a signpost for Molag Mar. Turn right, head uphill on the old road, and cross the ancient Dwemer Bridge over the Foidea Mamea. Mamea. The entrance to Arkanthad is on the east side of the Foyada. South of the bridge, turn the crank on the pipe nearby to open the doors.
Why are you looking for the puzzle box?
It's a little cube I'm looking for, about the size of a fist, maybe a bit bigger. It'll be made of a coppery metal, with circular design on symbols on one side and some lined marks on the other sides. That's all I want, that little cube.
So there might actually be some stuff up here. Let's start with the Council Club. Right.
Our doors are always open.
Good day. I'm Banner Saren, publican of the Council Club here in Balmora. We rent beds. I have a limited section of goods for barter. If you're new here, I can also tell you where to look for other services, a specific place nearby, or if you're looking for someone in particular, I might be able to help.
I just want to find out where I can join House Lalu. Didn't you just offer to give me the... Never mind.
Greetings, citizens. I'm Clagius Clander. Welcome to Balmora. We're a House Lalu town, loyal citizens of the Empire. What can I do for you?
Well, first of all, I'd like to learn more about House Lalu. How you two, huh? What have you got? Nothing interesting.
Greetings, citizens. I'm a mayor. Welcome to Balmora. We're a House Lalu town and loyal citizens of the Empire. What can I do for you?
Tell me more about House Lalu.
House Lalu is the only great house that knows how to do business with the Empire. They're more tolerant of foreigners like myself and more willing to do business. They're not paranoid and insular like Telvanni, and they do not try to convert you to the Tribunal Temple like House Redoran. Most native Dunmer don't like foreigners. The Dunmer are a proud people, and they look down on other races and cultures. They particularly dislike Outland Dunmer, dark elves born and raised to imperial ways, who don't know what it is to be a Dunmer born and bred. Foreigners can be accepted in Morrowind, even adopted into the great houses. There's even a Nord on the House Lalu Council, but it isn't easy. It takes time and effort to win a native's trust.
Tell me more about business.
If you want to talk about business, speak with Nileno Dorvan.
May I help you?
I am Nileno Dorvan. I keep business going here in Balmora while the Lalu councillors are away, which is most of the time. If you want to talk business, you've come to the right place. Do you want to join House Lalu?
I do.
Yes, you are a worthy candidate, and we accept anyone who wants to join, even Outlanders. Are you interested in joining?
Yes.
Very well. You are a member of House Lalu. When you are ready, we can discuss business and advancement in House Lalu.
So could you tell me a bit more about the requirements?
To join House Lalu, one must be swift and agile. We value the refined arts of speech and barter. House Lalu places exceptional value on property and its protection, and thus knowledge of security is essential. Although our house avoids violence whenever possible, a Lalu must know how to use light armor, short blades, and ranged weapons or to provide for the house's security.
Tell me more about the counselors.
Here's a recent edition of the book, the Yellow Book of Great House Lalu. It lists the current counselors and their residences. I might tell you more for a small consideration. One you should speak to is Crasius Curio. His manor is in the Lalu Plaza of Vivek. Of the Lalu counselors, he is the most likely to listen to your requests, whatever they may be. He can be very eccentric at times, but his weaknesses allow him to be manipulated. He lives in the Lalu Plaza in Vivek. Alderon has two main districts, the Redoran Council and the manors under the shell of the Emperor Crab known as the Alderon Underscar.
Let's talk about advancement.
No one doubts your ability to handle business, but you simply don't have enough experience yet. Just a minute, Caius. Say that again? How fortunate! Your voice sounds almost like the Redoran Felsen Sethendis, who died, just recently. Would you be willing to disguise yourself as Felsen Sethendis, and get orders from House Redoran, then deliver those orders to me?
Yes.
Good. Take this helm, and speak with Nemindia at the Redoran Council. Take the Silt Strider to Alderon, then look under Scar. When she asks you what you want, say that you are an orphan of Arnesia. Namidia should give you a coded message to deliver. Bring that coded message to me instead. Yes, that is the code phrase that you should use when you speak with Naminda. Make sure that you wear the helm that I gave you.
Good to know. I will stop by the Dwemer ruins first, though. Looks like the promise of better goods, though, is a bit of a wash. Well, not entirely.
Is there something I can
Tell me where to find a good armor. Oh, I got some books. I need to remember that.
On Morrowind, the Imperial Province by Aramane of Sunhold. After the conquest of Hammerfell, Imperial legions massed along the northeastern borders of Cyrodiil, and invasion fleets prepared in Skyrim. Initially, though the Imperial legions and navy were widely considered undefeatable, House Indoril and the Temple hierarchy proposed to resist to the death. Redoran and Dress stood by Indoril, with Telvanni remaining neutral. Lalu proposed accommodation. Contrived border incidents in Blackmarsh ended inconclusively, but the swampy terrain did not favor Legion and Navy coordination. Against the legions massed west of Silgrad Tower and Kraganmore, and the legions west of Blacklight and Cormarius View, Morrowind had pitifully small militias stiffened by small companies of Redoran mercenaries and elite units of House Nobles and Temple Ordinators and Armigers. Further complicating matters was the refusal of Indoril, Lalu, and Telvanni to garrison the western borders. Indoril and Dress proposed, rather than defend the western border, instead to withdraw to the interior and to fight a guerrilla war, with Lalu advocating accommodation and Telvanni remaining neutral. Redoran therefore faced the prospect of standing alone against the Empire. The situation changed radically when Vivek appeared in person in Vivek City to announce his negotiation of a treaty with the Emperor Tiber Septim, reorganizing Morrowind as a province of the Empire, but guaranteeing all rights of faith and self-government. A shocked temple hierarchy, which apparently had not been consulted, greeted the announcement with awkward silence. Indoril swore that they would resist to the death, with loyal support from Dress, while Redoran, grateful for a graceful excuse to avoid facing the legions unsupported, joined with Lalu in welcoming the agreement. Telvanni, seeing which way the wind blew, joined with Lalu and Redoran in supporting the treaty. Nothing is known of the circumstances of the personal meeting between Septim and Vivek, or where it took place, or the preliminaries which must have preceded the treaty. The public reason was to protect the identities of the agents involved. In the West, speculation is centered around the role of Zurin Arctus in brokering the agreement, and in the East, rumor suggests that Vivek offered Numidium to aid the conquest of the Altmer and Somerset Isle in return for significant concessions to preserve self-rule, house traditions, and religious practices in Morrowind. The Lord High Counselor of the Grand Counselor and Indoril refused to accept the treaty and refused to step down. He was assassinated and replaced by Lalu. House Lalu took the opportunity to settle some old scores with House Indoril, and a number of local councils changed hands in bloody coups. More blood was shed in these inter-house struggles than against the Imperial legions during Morrowind's transition from an independent nation to a province of the Empire. The generals of the legions had dreaded an invasion of Morrowind. The Dunmer were widely regarded as the most dreadful and fanatic foes, further inspired by the temple and clan traditions. The generals had not grasped the political weakness of Morrowind, which Emperor Tiber Septim recognized and exploited. At the same time, given the tragic depopulation and destruction experienced by other provinces conquered by Septim and the swift and efficient assimilation of Morrowind into the imperial legal system and economy, with relatively small impact on lower or upper classes of Morrowind citizens, the tribunal also deserves some credit for recognizing the hopelessness of Morrowind's defense and the chance at gaining important concessions at the treaty table by being the first to offer peace. By contrast, many Indoril nobles chose to commit suicide rather than submit to the Empire, with the result that the house was significantly weakened during the period of transition, guaranteeing that they would lose much of their influence and power to House Lalu, whose influence and power was waxing with its enthusiastic accommodation with the Empire. The temple hierarchy more skillfully managed their loss of face, remaining aloof from political struggles and earning the goodwill of the people by concentrating on their economic, educational, and spiritual welfare. Yellow Book of the Great House Lalu. Counselors of House Lalu, Vradenfell District, Imperial Era 426. Mistress Velanda Omni, by grace of Almsivi, Honored Counselor of Lalu Council, Vradenfell District, Free Trader, Lord of Omni Plantation, Elmas Island, East Vivek District of Vradenfell, Province of Morrowind. Master Drambero, by grace of Almsivi, Honored Counselor of Lalu Council, Vradenfell District, Free Trader, Gentleman of No Fixed Residence, Vivek District of Vradenfell, Province of Morrowind. Master Crassius Curio, by grace of Almsivi, Honored Counselor of Lalu Council, Vradenfell District, Free Trader, Curio Manor, Lalu Compound, Vivek, District of Vradenfell, Province of Morrowind. Master Yingling Half-Troll, by grace of Almsivi, Honored Counselor of Lalu Council, Vradenfell District, Free Trader, Yingling Manor, Canton of St. Olms, Vivek, District of Vradenfell, Province of Morrowind. Mistress Nevna Ulis, by grace of Almsivi, Honored Counselor of Lalu Council, Vradenfell District, Free Trader, Ulis Manor, Suran, Ascadian Isles, Bal-Ur, District of Vradenfell, Province of Morrowind. Council Affairs of Note. King Lalu Athan Lethan, High Counselor and Lord of Morrowind, grants relief to merchants complaining of high tariffs on imported alcoholic beverages. The Council is pleased to report a reduction of the incidents of theft and violent crime in the Lalu House districts, thanks to the vigilance of the legions and stern sentences by the magistrates. The Council laments the unfortunate disturbances of the public peace resulting from the increasingly aggressive competition between the Thieves Guild and the Kimona Tong for control of the black markets. A minor tax revolt in Balmora was suppressed without undue harm to life and property. The council sent deputations to the Duke to express their concerns over the high tax rates on and the injurious effects of high tariffs on trade.
Alright, and I commit to actually going to the Dwemer Ruins before the broadcast is done. If I face anything too tough, I'll switch back to the katana, but for now I'm going to be able to increase my abilities by using the axe. Now I know if I go far enough, I'm going to have another Daedric weapon that I'll be able to pick up. I don't want to fight this if I don't have to, but I'm going to be prepared. Just in case.
Draw the weapon.
That's probably overkill, but... Figure I can always take out that guy on my way back if he turns out to be hostile. So, turns out they're hostile. So that made him a little at odds about the scrap metal. But it is something I can use in alchemy, so I'm gonna work with it. That was worth a try.
A Dance in Fire, Chapter 4 by Wagan Jarth. 18th Bosmeri and one Cyrodiilic former senior clerk for an Imperial Building Commission trudged through the jungle westward from the Xylo River to the ancient village of Vindisi. For Desumius Scotti, the jungle was hostile, unfamiliar ground. The enormous, vermiculated trees filled the bright morning with darkness and resembled nothing so much as grasping claws bent on impeding their progress. Even the fronds of the low plants quivered with malevolent energy. What was worst, he was not alone in his anxiety. His fellow travelers, the natives who had survived the Khajiit attacks on the villages of Grenos and Athe, wore faces of undisguised fear. There was something sentient in the jungle, and not merely the mad but benevolent indigenous spirits. In his peripheral vision, Scotty could see the shadows of the Khajiit following the refugees, leaping from tree to tree. When he turned to face them, the lithe forms vanished into the gloom, as if they had never been there. But he knew that he had seen them, and the Bosmeri saw them too and quickened their pace. After 18 hours, bitten raw by insects, scratched by 1,000 thorns, they emerged into a valley clearing. It was night, but a row of blazing torches greeted them, illuminating the leather-wrought tents and jumbled stones of the hamlet of Indisi. At the end of the valley, the torches marked a sacred site, a gnarled bower of trees pressed close together to form a temple. Wordlessly, the Bosmeri walked the torch arcade toward the trees. Scotty followed them. When they reached the solid mass of living wood, with only one gaping portal, Scotty could see a dim blue light glowing within. A low sonorous moan from 100 voices echoed within. The Bosmeri maiden he had been following held out her hand, stopping him. "You do not understand, but no outsider, not even a friend, may enter," she said. "This is a holy place." Scotty nodded and watched the refugees march into the temple, heads bowed. Their voices joined with the ones within. When the last wood elf had gone inside, Scotty turned his attention back to the village. There must be food to be had somewhere. A tendril of smoke and a faint whiff of roasting venison beyond the torchlight led him. There were 5 Cyrodiils, 2 Bretons, and a Nord. The group gathered around the campfire of glowing white stones, pulling steaming strips of meat from the cadaver of a great stag. At Scotty's approach, they rose up, all but the Nord was distracted by his hunk of animal flesh. "Good evening. Sorry to interrupt, but I was wondering if I might have a little something to eat. I'm afraid I'm rather hungry after walking all day with some refugees from Grenos and Athe." They bade him to sit down and eat, and introduced themselves. "So the war's back on, it seems," said Scotty amiably. "Best things for these effete do-nothings," replied the Nord in between bites. "I've never seen such a lazy culture. Now they've got the Khajiit striking them on land, and the High Elves at sea. If there's any province that deserves a little distress, it's the damnable Valenwood." "I don't see how they're so offensive to you," laughed one of the Bretons. "They're congenital thieves, even worse than the Khajiit, because they're so blessed meek in their aggression." The Nord spat out a gob of fat which sizzled on the hot stones of the fire. "They spread their forests into territory that doesn't belong to them, slowly infiltrating their neighbors, and they're puzzled when elsewhere shoves back at them. They're all villains of the worst order." "So what are you doing here?" asked Scotty. "I'm a diplomat from the court of Jenna," muttered the Nord, returning to his food. "What about you? Or what are you doing here?" asked one of the Cyrodiils. "I work for Lord Atreus' building commission on the Imperial City," said Scotty. "One of my former colleagues suggested that I come down to Valenwood. He said that the war was over, and I could contract a great deal of business for my firm rebuilding what was lost. One disaster after another, and I've lost all my money. I'm in the middle of a rekindling of war, and I cannot find my former colleague." "Your former colleague," murmured another of the Cyrodiils, who had introduced himself as Regulus. "He wasn't by any chance named Laiodes Juris, was he?" "You know him?" "He lured me down to Valenwood in nearly exactly the same circumstances," smiled Regulus grimly. "I worked for your employer's competitor, Lord Vanexman, where Laiodes Juris also formerly worked. He wrote to me asking that I represent an Imperial Building Commission and contract some post-war reconstruction. I'd just been released from my employment, and I thought that if I brought in some new business, I could have my job back. Juris and I met in Athe, and he said that he was going to arrange a very lucrative meeting with the Silvernar." Scotty was stunned. "Where's he now?" "I'm no theologian, so I couldn't say," Regulus shrugged. "He's dead. When the Khajiit attacked Athe, they began torching the harbor where Juris was readying the boat. Or, I should say, my boat, since it was purchased with the gold that I brought. By the time we were even aware of what was happening enough to flee, everything by the water was ash. The Khajiit may be animals, but they know how to arrange an attack." "I think they followed us through the jungle to Vindisi," said Scotty, nervously. "There's definitely a group of something jumping along the treetops. Probably one of the monkey folk," snorted the Nord. "Nothing to be concerned about." "When we first came to Vindisi and the Bosmeri all entered that tree, they were furious, whispering something about unleashing an ancient terror on their enemies," the Breton shivered, remembering. "They've been there ever since, for over a day and a half now. If you want something to be afraid of, that's the direction to look." The other Breton, who was a representative of the Daggerfall Mages Guild,
Yeah, I remember them.
was staring off into the darkness while his fellow provincial spoke. Maybe, but there's something in the jungle too, right on the edge of the village, looking in. More refugees, maybe? Asked Scotty, trying to keep the alarm out of his voice. Not unless they're traveling through the trees now, whispered the wizard. Lenord and one of the Cyrodiils grabbed a long tarp of wet leather and pulled it across the fire, instantly extinguishing it without so much as a sizzle. Now Scotty could see the intruders, their elliptical yellow eyes and long cruel blades catching the torchlight. He froze with fear, praying that he too was not visible to them. He felt something bump against his back and gasped. Wedulus's voice hissed up from above. "Be quiet, for Mara's sake, and climb up here." Scotty grabbed a hold of the knotted double vine and hung down from the tall tree at the edge of the dead campfire. He scrambled up as quickly as he could, holding his breath lest any grunt of exertion escape him. At the top of the vine, high above the village, was an abandoned nest from some great bird in a trident-shaped branch. As soon as Scotty had pulled himself into the soft, fragrant straw, Regulus pulled up the vine. No one else was there, and when Scotty looked down, he could see no one below. No one, that is, except the Khajiit, slowly moving towards the glow of the empty tree. "Thank you," whispered Scotty, deeply touched that a competitor had helped him. He turned away from the village and saw that the tree's upper branches brushed against the mossy rock walls that now surrounded the valley below. "How are you at climbing?" "You're mad," said Regulus under his breath. "We should stay here until they leave. If they burn Vindisi like they did Athe and Grenos, we'll be dead, sure as if we were on the ground," Scotty began, a slow, careful climb out of the tree, testing each branch. "Can you see what they're doing?" "I can't really tell," Regulus stared down into the gloom. "They're at the front of the temple. I think they also have, it looks like long ropes trailing off behind them, pulling off into the pass." Scotty crawled onto the strongest branch that pointed toward the wet, rocky face of the cliff. It was not a far jump at all, so close in fact that he could smell the moisture and feel the coolness of the stone. It was a jump nevertheless, and in his history as a clerk he had never before leapt from a tree 100 feet off the ground onto sheer rock. He pictured in his mind's eye the shadows that had pursued him through the jungle from the heights above, and how their legs coiled to a spring, and how their arms snapped forward in an elegant fluid motion to grasp. He leapt. His hands grappled for rock, but long thick cords of moss were more accessible. He held hard, but when he tried to plant his feet forward, they slipped up skyward. For a few seconds he found himself upside down before he managed to pull himself into a more conventional position. There was narrow outcropping, jutting off the cliff where he could stand and finally exhale. "Regulus, Regulus, Regulus!" Scotty did not dare call out. In a minute there was a shaking of branches, and Lord Vanek's men emerged. First his satchel, then his head, and then the rest of him. Scotty started to whisper something, but Regulus shook his head violently and pointed downward. One of the Khajiit was at the base of the tree, peering at the remains of the campfire. Regulus awkwardly tried to balance himself on the branch, but as strong as it was exceedingly difficult with only one free hand. Scotty cupped his palms and pointed them at the satchel. It seemed to pain Regulus to let it out of his grasp, but he relented and tossed it to Scotty. There was a small, almost invisible hole in the bag when Scotty caught it. A single gold coin dropped out. It rang as it bounced against the rock wall on the descent, a high, soft sound that seemed like the loudest alarm Scotty had ever heard. Then many things happened very quickly. The Cathay rat at the base of the tree looked up and gave a loud wail. The other Khajiit followed in chorus as the cat below crouched down and then sprung up onto the lower branches. Regulus saw it below him, climbing up with impossible dexterity, and panicked. Even before he jumped, Scotty could tell that he was going to fall. With a cry, Regulus the clerk plunged to the ground, breaking his neck on impact. A flash of white fire erupted from every crevice of the temple, and the moan of the Bosmeri prayer changed into something terrible and otherworldly. Then climbing, Cathay Rat stopped and stared. "Kirgo," it gasped, "the wild hunt." It was as if a crack of reality had opened wide. A flood of horrific beasts, tentacled toads, insects of armor and spine, gelatinous serpents, vaporous beings with the face of gods, all poured forth from the great hollow tree, blind with fury. They tore the Khajiit in front of the temple to pieces. All the other cats fled for the jungle, but as they did so, they began pulling on the ropes they carried. In a few seconds' time, the entire village of Vindisi was boiling with lunatic apparitions of the wild hunt. Over the babbling, barking, howling horde, Scotty heard the Cyrodiils in hiding cry out as they were devoured. The Nord too was found and eaten, and both Bretons. The wizard had turned himself invisible, but the swarm did not rely on their sight. The tree, the Cathay rat, began to sway and rock from the impossible violence beneath it. Scotty looked at the Khajiiti's fear-struck eyes and held out one of the cords of moss. The cat's face showed its pitiful gratitude as it leapt for the vine. It didn't have time to entirely replace that expression when Scotty pulled back on the cord and watched it fall. The hunt consumed it to the bone before it struck the ground. Scotty's own jump was to the next outcropping of rock, was immeasurably more successful. From there, he pulled himself to the top of the cliff and was able to look down into the chaos that had been the village of Vindisi. The hunt's mass had grown and began to spill out through the pass, out of the valley pursuing the fleeing Khajiiti. It was then that the madness truly began. In the moon's light from Scotty's vantage, he could see where the Khajiiti had attached their ropes. With a thunderous boom, an avalanche of boulders poured over the pass, and when the dust cleared, he saw that the valley had been sealed. The wild hunt had nowhere to turn but on itself. Scotty turned his head, unable to bear to look at the cannibalistic orgy. The night jungle stood before him, a web of wood. He slung Regulus's satchel over his shoulder and entered.
I will bathe in your blood.
Again, I'll take the scrap metal for as long as I can, but I won't sacrifice anything important for it.
You've lost this round. Ow!
Trying to get whatever, restore, magicka. I think these are my custom ones. Nope, apparently I did, that was pretty wasteful of me. Let's try and make that into something. Yeah. Kind of wanted to reload just to make sure that I got the most out of it, but Apparently getting mildly better at some skills. I have a feeling that these ruins are going to be a little bit bigger than I thought originally, but we'll work with what we've got. I do need to wrap up a little bit earlier because it's quite late, but I'll try and push on as far as I can. Don't remember if I checked those crates. I'm almost certain I did, but this is going to be a fun jump. Oh no, I'm dead. I'm really curious if it's actually possible to make that jump. Oh boy. That wasn't quite as bad as I thought. So this seems to have served no purpose other than to just give me a reason to... reason to use a levitation potion. Trying to remember all the places that I've been and haven't. Okay, well, I've obviously been there.
This is too easy. You should have picked an easier opponent.
I'm fascinated by the fact that I was running into impossible enemies on the way to where I would be getting. On the way to where I would be getting this quest. But this one seems to give me a lot of tutorial style enemies.
Lost this round. May as well get a little practice.
Dice.
Today will be your last. You'll be dead soon.
He has such a nice face for such a vicious man. Look at that expression of shock. should probably re-equip my weapon before I go any further. So I think this is a full circle. I think I might be heading the wrong way. Definitely didn't find any keys on my way, so... Wait, I think this is the start of the level again. I definitely didn't find the box. Right. Okay, so this is where we originally went. Yeah, I'm stuck.
Trifled with you long enough. You're mine.
I'm lucky that's cast. Oh yes, that scroll will be helpful if I can't find any other way of opening that door. Oh, looks like we found the puzzle box. I'm a little curious about that door I couldn't get through though, so we'll take a minute and explore. think I'm gonna go through the path that I did last time. Hopefully I'll be able to remember it. So I think I need to go behind another door. Hang on. Right, there were no other doors. Oh yes, I'm gonna have to, Right. Alright. Neat. I heard something. Well, I definitely saw something. This might be one I need to take the katana out for. That thing's... yeah, that's not gonna work. Ow. For I have studied the blade. Nope, just a place to die. It's always tempting to try and levitate to see what's going on these other levels, but I always try to find some path. Well, maybe I can just run up. Sure. Oh, come on. At this point, I'm just too curious. a jackpot, but oh, you're kidding me. Alright. The most obvious is to deal with whatever scrap metal. So it is good for a lightning shield or drain health. If I must. I'll see if I can get any lightning shield first. Drain health it is. Here. It is kind of funny to see the arm reaching through to come after me through the door. What are you doing here? I can always assume I can't unlock this, but I'll give it a shot. So... oh, that doesn't even cover everything. Oh, that was a fatigue. That would have been really bad. Yeah, I'm really curious about where that key's gonna get me. This is a little odd. I've obviously been here before. I didn't think I exhausted all my possibilities already. Looks like we're covered, though. I think I've forgotten where I'm supposed to go. Not that way is the answer. So I will return the puzzle box. I will drop off some items at my home. Try and get a return on some of the loot that I brought here. I think obviously it'd be tempting to go and get the Daedric artifact, but I'm too weighted down right now. Yeah, I probably should have thought of that. That's what I get for being impatient. So in addition to turning in the puzzle box, I also get a nice little opportunity to sell all these goods in the Fighter's Guild.
How does the day greet you?
You've taken a few scrapes. I'm sure a healer could help.
No need. Yeah, why not?
Welcome, adventurer. Looking for an equalizer? Something to give you an edge against a superior opponent? When you need to do a lot of damage in a hurry, you can't beat a poison blade. Try my inexpensive iron spider dagger and steel spider blade, or an imperial netch blade for even more bite.
Alright, let's see what we can sell. I guess the rest of that is a waste of time, so let's try and get this, get a little more out of this.
Thank you. Please come again.
Well met.
I
What
see
is it?
there's quite a bit of trouble around. A healer can help mend your wounds.
So, have you done the little favor that I asked? Perfect. Just what I was looking for. Let me take this Dwemer puzzle box, and then I'll tell you what Caius wants to know about the 6th house, and about the Neverine. By the way, the inscriptions on this box seem to be directions for setting a Dwemer key into a specific lock. If you're interested, after you've delivered the report to Caius, come back, and maybe I'll have a key that you can take back to Argenthand.
Probably not necessary, but...
House Dagoth is the 6th house, the lost 6th house. In the First Age, House Dagoth betrayed the other great houses during the War of the First Council and was destroyed for their treason. I can answer any questions you have, but also give you some notes to give to Caius. I recommend some 6th house references you should read. Here's a list of cheap books. All of them will tell you something about the 6th house and how it ended the War of the First Council, Saint Neverar, Neverar Moon and Star, and the real Neverar. Try that bookseller, Dorcia Darville, over in the commercial district. She'll have at least some of the titles.
Alright, I'm gonna need to remember to, go back and talk to him. For now, I'm just happy I managed to free up some space and, get some money.
How does the day greet you, friend?
Is there something I can do for you?
Please, by all means. I'm listening.
It's starting to look like my apartment.
The following notes are prepared by Hesfat Antabolus for Caius Caussades. 6th house. House Dagoth is an extinct great house. In the wake of the ancient Battle of Red Mountain, its leadership was revealed to have plotted treason and was discredited. Many of House Dagoth died defending the house. Those survivors who were faithful to the Great Council were redistributed amongst the other houses. The temple says the ancient legendary evil beings that dwell beneath Red Mountain in the Dagoth-Ur region are the original leaders of this extinct house, sustained by some powerful evil sorceries. Other references. These books include references to the 6th house and its destruction. The bookseller Dorcia Darville over in the commercial district might have copies. The War of the First Council, Saint Neverar, Neverar the Moon and Star, and the real Neverar.
Oh yes, I should have tried to sell the Dwemer coins.
Are you here to discuss your orders, Caius, or was there something else that you want? These notes are from Hashfat and Antabolus? Excellent. I trust you didn't work too hard for them. I'll look them over in more detail later. I have some new orders for you. I've glanced at Hashfat Antabolus's notes. They cover the 6th house admirably, but not the Neverine cult. Hop over to Balmora Mages Guild. It's right next to the Balmora's Fighters Guild. Get Sharn Gra Musgrab to tell you what she knows about the Neverine. She'll have some silly errand for you to do, so do what she asks and report back when she's given you the information. You had a disturbing dream. You can only recall one part. A tall figure with a golden mask led you among the dead as through a wedding celebration. You heard many voices, but no lips moved. You strained to breathe, but your chest didn't move. The tall figure spoke with each figure as he passed among them, laughing and joking as if they were alive, but they made no reply. You tried to cry out, but without breath, your tongue fluttered in vain. You've ascended to level 14. Today you wake up full of energy and ideas, and you know somehow that overnight everything has changed. What a difference a day makes.
So nothing too crazy in terms of boosts, but I'll say yes to more intelligence and willpower any day.
You're beaten.
I'm going to need to be able to actually cast something at some point. Thanks for the help. And with that, I wish you all a very good evening, and we will see you next week.